try to save as many people as we can.
New York.
Sometimes that doesn't mean everybody.
Hey everyone.
The Avengers are deployed in Nigeria after receiving warnings about a Crossbones operation. While observing the area, Captain America spots a garbage truck that seems suspicious and asks Falcon to inspect it with a drone. Using X-ray vision, Sam discovers the driver is armed and the truck is overloaded, indicating it will be used as a weapon. As the truck nears a military facility, the driver jumps out and smashes through the barricade, allowing a group of criminals to break in. The attackers release sleeping gas, knocking everyone unconscious, then head to the top-floor lab to steal a vial of chemical weaponry. The Avengers arrive and take down the guards outside. With the area cleared, Steve rushes to the lab and asks Wanda to remove the gas, but he is too late. Crossbones has already escaped. Black Widow chases the criminals on a motorcycle, but is captured and thrown into an armored vehicle with a grenade. To survive, Natasha uses one of the criminals as a human shield. With the heroes briefly overwhelmed, Crossbones hands the vial to a teammate and orders them to split up to escape. At a nearby public fair, the criminals ditch their gear and blend into the crowd, forcing the Avengers to search among civilians. While checking the armored vehicle, Captain America is hit by a sticky bomb attached to his shield. He throws the vibranium shield into the air just before it explodes. Moments later, Crossbones confronts Steve and attacks him in the middle of the crowd. Elsewhere, Natasha tracks down another suspect and takes him out. She defeats two attackers at once through skill alone. One man threatens her with a biological weapon and demands she drop her gun. Falcon's drone intervenes, knocking the man out and allowing Natasha to catch the vial before it hits the ground. Steve continues fighting Crossbones and eventually defeats him. While Crossbones lies on the ground, Captain America demands to know who hired him. Crossbones reveals the buyer is Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. He then attempts to detonate a suicide bomb, but Wanda restrains him and throws him into the air, where he crashes into a building that is destroyed. After the mission, Tony Stark gives a technology presentation to university students and announces he will fund their project. As he leaves, a woman confronts him and shows him a photo of her son, who was killed in Sokovia during the fight with Ultron. She tells Tony he is not a hero and blames him for her loss. Back at Avengers headquarters, Stark arrives with General Ross, now Secretary of State. Ross says the Avengers have acted without oversight for too long and that governments will no longer accept it. He explains that 117 countries have approved the Sokovia Accords, placing the Avengers under UN control. Steve strongly objects. Ross highlights the absence of Thor and Hulk and announces a UN meeting in Vienna to ratify the agreement, warning that refusal will shut the Avengers down. After Ross leaves, the team argues. Steve leads those against government control. Tony shows the photo again and explains that the young man was a computer engineering graduate who chose to spend time in Sokovia helping rebuild homes. Tony says the man's future ended when a building collapsed during the Ultron battle and insists the Avengers must take responsibility. During the debate, Steve learns of Peggy's death and leaves for her funeral. Afterward, Natasha tells Steve that several Avengers have already signed the accords, including herself, and says she is heading to Vienna. In Austria, Natasha meets Prince T'Challa of Wakanda. During the conference, King T'Chaka gives a speech pledging Wakanda's cooperation. T'Challa notices suspicious movement and warns everyone, but an explosion kills his father. In the United States, Steve sees the news and learns that Bucky has been blamed for the Vienna attack. Black Widow approaches T'Challa, who vows to kill the Winter Soldier himself. Following the trail, Captain America finds Bucky's apartment and tries to talk to him. Bucky insists he was not in Vienna and has left that life behind. Grenades are suddenly thrown inside and Interpol storms the building, forcing Steve to defend Bucky. Despite their training, the agents are quickly defeated. Barnes escapes to the rooftop and is confronted by Black Panther. He avoids the fight and keeps running, leading to a high-speed chase through the city involving Black Panther, Captain America, and Interpol. Steve steals a police car, and Black Panther jumps onto it. Bucky hijacks a motorcycle and speeds away. Chala attacks with his vibranium claws, nearly knocking him down. Barnes recovers and detonates explosives in a tunnel to block pursuit. Still, Chala continues and nearly kills Bucky until Captain America intervenes. Police arrive, and War Machine appears to arrest them all. At an Austrian detention facility, a psychiatrist arrives to interrogate Bucky Barnes and begins questioning him about what happened. In a distant location, a delivery driver drops off a package for an employee of an energy company. Once delivery is confirmed, a man posing as a psychiatrist activates a hidden device. An explosion hits the power plant and the entire city loses electricity. As the blackout spreads, police rush toward Bucky with the captain close behind. At the site, the false psychiatrist claims he wants to discuss Bucky's true home. He reveals a Winter Soldier notebook filled with trigger phrases that place Bucky under control. In the interrogation room, Steve approaches the man he believes is the psychiatrist. Bucky suddenly attacks and knocks Steve down an elevator shaft. While Steve struggles to climb back up, Tony confronts Barnes without his armor and is quickly knocked unconscious. Chala steps in to fight. Without his suit, Black Panther still fights with precision and throws Barnes down nearly 3 stories. When he follows, Barnes is gone. On the rooftop helipad, Bucky tries to escape by helicopter. Steve arrives and grabs the aircraft with his bare arm, forcing Bucky to crash it into him. After the impact, the Winter Soldier grabs Steve and falls with him into a canal. Steve saves Bucky from drowning. Bucky collapses. Elsewhere, the disguised psychiatrist watches the news of Barnes' escape and flies to Moscow. Bucky later wakes up and tells Steve the man behind everything is Baron Zemo. Zemo is seeking information about a 1991 mission in which the Winter Soldier caused a car crash and stole super soldier serum. Steve believes Zemo plans to control more enhanced people and suggests calling Tony. Sam disagrees and insists they work alone. Unaware of this, Stark argues with Secretary Ross and declares Captain America an enemy. He asks for one day to handle the situation and gather support. Tony visits Peter Parker, shows footage of Spider-Man, and praises his skills. Peter eventually admits the truth. Tony recruits him and upgrades his suit and web shooters. At the Avengers compound, an explosion draws Vision away. Hawkeye appears and calls Wanda to act. Vision suddenly returns, phases through Clint's arrows, and takes his bow. Wanda restrains Vision and forces him underground. Clint then leads Wanda and Ant-Man to Captain America. At the airport, evacuation alarms sound. Bucky warns that Tony is close. Steve tries to explain the truth, but Stark refuses to listen and orders Spider-Man to take the shield. Steve refuses to surrender. Ant-Man grows giant, knocks Peter aside, and returns the shield. Tony chases Wanda and Clint while Black Panther goes after Bucky and Falcon, only to be stopped by Steve. Spider-Man and Falcon clash. War Machine and Black Panther fight Captain America. Clint fires a magnetic arrow that drags cars onto Iron Man. Inside the terminal, Spider-Man restrains Falcon, but Sam escapes using a drone. Ant-Man detonates a miniature truck, giving Steve's team a chance to reach the hangar. Both sides collide in a full fight. Wanda overwhelms Natasha and Chala. Spider-Man trips Steve, but Steve quickly overpowers him and traps Peter under a heavy container. Clint fires an arrow that sends Scott into Tony's armor. Ant-Man disables the weapons before Stark ejects him. Falcon creates a diversion so Steve and Bucky can reach the jet. Ant-Man becomes giant and attacks everyone. Vision tries to collapse the hangar entrance, but Wanda holds it back. War Machine's sonic blast knocks Wanda out. The debris nearly crushes Steve and Bucky. Black Widow distracts Black Panther so Steve can escape. Spider-Man binds Scott's legs. Tony and War Machine knock Ant-Man down, and he lands on Peter. After the fight, Tony sends Spider-Man home and flies after the jet. Vision accidentally damages War Machine's core, causing Rhodes to fall and lose consciousness. At the hospital, Tony receives a message from Berlin police. Friday reveals that the UN psychiatrist was actually Baron Zemo, a Sokovian operative. The real psychiatrist was found dead, along with a facial prosthetic of Bucky. Zemo has already reached a Siberian facility, where 5 Winter Soldiers remain frozen. Out in the open sea, Stark stops at the raft, a covert prison hidden in the middle of the ocean and run by Ross. There, Tony tells Ross everything he has uncovered, but the secretary dismisses him outright and admits he no longer trusts him. With no support from the government, Stark heads to the prison cells and shuts down the audio system. Using the moment, he tells Sam that he has learned the full truth. Wanting to fix his mistake, Tony asks Sam for Steve's location, then returns to his helicopter as it heads back toward the mainland. Midway through the flight, Tony suits up and launches himself from the aircraft, flying straight toward Siberia. He has no idea that Black Panther is following closely behind. At the same time, Steve and Bucky arrive at the bunker and begin searching for Baron Zemo. As they move through the facility, they hear someone approaching and immediately go on alert, especially when they realize it is Iron Man. Now aware of the truth, Tony tells them to stand down and explains that he is there to help. He then joins them in tracking down Zemo. Deep inside the bunker, the three reach the chamber where the other Winter Soldiers were stored and discover that all of them are already dead. As they step closer, Zemo appears and calmly says he is glad they came. He reveals that he has spent an entire year studying them. Steve confronts him and asks if this is revenge for Sokovia. Zemo says it is not. When Steve asks if he lost anyone, Zemo replies that everyone he loved is gone, and adds that they will soon understand his pain. Zemo activates a screen in the center of the room and explains that an empire only falls when it destroys itself from within. Security footage begins playing, showing a Winter Soldier mission from 1991. Tony watches in horror as Bucky forces his parents' car off the road, kills them, and steals a case containing the super soldier serum. Realizing the truth, Tony asks Steve if he already knew. Steve admits that he did. Feeling deeply betrayed, Stark strikes Captain America unconscious and turns his fury on Bucky. As Zemo slips away, Tony uses his armor to overpower the Winter Soldier and nearly tears off his metal arm. Steve intervenes by throwing his shield to stop him. Their fight tears through the bunker, causing parts of it to collapse. In the chaos, Steve tells Bucky to escape and stays behind to face Tony. He damages one of Iron Man's boots, but Tony keeps pursuing Bucky and nearly finishes him. Steve arrives just in time and deflects a missile with his shield. While Captain America keeps Tony distracted, Bucky climbs toward the exit. Stark fires a rocket that destroys the hatch mechanism and seals the escape route. With nowhere left to run, Bucky is grabbed by the throat as Tony begins to overpower him. Steve leaps in and knocks them both to the ground. He tries to reason with Tony, saying this will not change the past. Tony responds that he does not care. He only wants revenge. Fighting alone against two opponents, Iron Man begins to lose ground. Bucky attempts to remove the arc reactor, but Tony unleashes a massive energy blast that shatters Bucky's vibranium arm. With Bucky helpless, Steve charges at Tony. Elsewhere, Zemo stands on the roof, listening to the final voicemail from his wife. As the message loops, Chala appears and asks why Zemo wants to turn everyone against each other. Zemo explains that his father lived in a quiet part of Sokovia. His wife and children hid in their home, believing they were safe when the battle with Ultron began. He even felt pride watching Iron Man fight. After the city collapsed, it took him 2 days to find their bodies. Knowing he could never defeat the Avengers by force, Zemo chose to tear them apart from the inside, and his plan has succeeded. Chala says he is done letting revenge consume lives and stops Zemo from killing himself. Back inside the bunker, Iron Man studies Captain America's combat style and finally disarms him, launching a counterattack. Exhausted, Steve says that Bucky is his friend. Tony answers that Bucky was his friend too, and delivers a heavy punch. Still, Steve refuses to give up. He keeps attacking and repeatedly strikes Iron Man with a shield until the arc reactor is destroyed. With no power left, Stark collapses. Captain America retrieves his shield and helps Bucky to his feet. Tony tells Steve that his father built that shield and that Steve does not deserve it. In response, Steve drops the vibranium shield and walks away. After everything is over, Tony returns to the Avengers compound and receives a package. Inside, he finds a letter from Captain America apologizing for hiding the truth about his parents. The letter also includes a phone number Tony can call if he ever needs help. As Tony finishes reading, Ross calls to warn him of a prison breach, confirming that Captain America and the Winter Soldier have freed the captured Avengers. After the rescue, Bucky travels to Wakanda and asks to be placed in cryogenic sleep until a way is found to repair his mind and erase Hydra's control. Once Bucky is frozen, Steve warns T'Challa that the UN will come after him if they find out. The Wakandan king stays calm and tells him he welcomes the challenge, and with that the story ends here. Captain America: Civil War shows that good intentions can still cause harm when people refuse to listen to each other. The film teaches that responsibility and power must be balanced with trust and conscience. It also reminds us that blind loyalty and revenge can destroy friendships faster than any enemy.